Welcome back to my animal education series. Today I'm here with Jeff, interviewing him about a fro dragon. Hello.
How are you?
So can you tell us a little bit about this fro dragon we have here?
Well, the frilled dragons, there are several lizards that are commonly called dragons, whether it be the frilled dragon or bearded dragon or the Komodo dragon. They're obviously not really dragons as people may think of them as. But the frilled dragons have this ability when they're really frightened or angry to flare out these neck flaps, as you can see here. I'm doing it for him because he's used to being around people and being held, and would only do this normally if he was really afraid, which he's not right now. So you can see how big that is and how big that would make him appear, and that serves to help frighten away his enemies.
As you can see, he has kind of a slender body, and it just kind of makes him look bigger.
Yeah, it makes him look bigger and mean, and it helps him survive probably many encounters with other animals that may want to do harm to him. So it's a defensive thing. Actually, on occasion, he'll do this when he's interacting with the other frilled dragon in his exhibit.
So what kind of animal would try to do harm to a frilled dragon like this?
Well, any animal this size would be fair game to any larger predator. There are a number of mammals that may eat lizards, maybe other larger reptiles in their habitat. So even birds eat lizards. So anyway he can use to defend himself, he'll do it. And his tool happens to be that frill he can flare out, make himself look bigger.
Let's move on from predators to prey. So what kind of animals would these frilled dragons eat out in their wild habitat?
Well, they're insectivores largely, so anything that is the right size for them to be able to grab and swallow. So that could be, beetles and grasshoppers and crickets, and so a wide variety of things.
What do you feed these dragons here?
Well, they eat crickets, superworms. Again, we give them a variety. Waxworms.
I can see from their coloration, the way that their scales feel, that they must be from a desert environment. Is that correct?
Well, a little bit drier environments, but they still blend in very well. You can imagine this guy being in, even if we took him out back, if it weren't so cold out today, he would blend in almost any background. So whether he's in the trees or on the ground, he probably blends in pretty well.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for telling us about these frilled dragons. And right now, we're at part 2 of our Ooh Dragon segment. What kind of dragon is this?
This is a Komodo dragon. This is our female. We have a male here too, but we don't keep them together because they are brother and sister, and they'll either breed or fight. So we don't keep them together.
How big currently is this female frilled dragon?
Well, she is actually from head to tail close to 6 feet, but she's still growing. She's will fill out more. The females don't get quite as large as the males, but they will bulk out. Of course, they're the largest species of lizard.
So how big can these little lizards get?
Pardon?
How big can these lizards get?
Well, the males, as I said, can get bigger. The literature says 10 to 12 feet. They may reach 10 feet, but they're just a large animal. There are some other species of monitors that get close to that length, but they're not quite as bulky as these guys are. The Komodos can get over 200 pounds with the males, and the females, like I said, are a little bit smaller.
It's a big lizard.
Yes, and they're not afraid of taking on prey animals much larger than themselves. They're typically a solitary animal in the wild, but they will get in with larger groups at feed carcasses, things like that. So they can at least tolerate one another during the act of feeding, but normally are fairly solitary animals.
What kind of animals in the wild do these Komodo dragons eat?
They'll eat anything. Anything from small birds to, as some of these films show, water buffalo. The buffalo are an introduced species on the islands, but they still have, relatively little problem dispatching them. There's a lot said about the bacteria in their mouths. And in the wild, they probably do have a large amount of bacteria because they're eating animals that are sitting out at 95-degree heat. In captivity, they probably have very little bacteria. And they also have some very small trace amounts of venom in their saliva. But the main thing is if they bite an animal and wound an animal, infection sets in pretty fast anyway because of the climate, the combination of the things. So, yeah, the bacteria play a role, but it's largely just an open wound that is open to the elements, open to bleeding and infection.
What do you feed these Komodo dragons?
Here they eat mostly rodents. A large rat is a perfect sized meal and provides all the nutrients for them. But we occasionally feed on larger pieces of meat because it's normal for them to actually bite in and scissor a piece of meat off, and that's good to give them that opportunity. It's something that they would normally do in the wild and provides enrichment for them. So we occasionally give them a large piece of meat.
So, who's your animal enrichment programs? Would that help with it if they bite in the area?
Yes, it helps them act as they would in the wild. Gives them that opportunity. They obviously prefer to grab and wolf something down, and feeding them rats really doesn't take long. They just take them down within a second. But simulating a carcass feed is good enrichment for them.
As you said earlier, this female Komodo dragon and another male Komodo dragon that have brothers and sisters. Do you trade with other zoos for breeding programs?
Yeah, the Komodo dragons are part of SSP, a species survival program, where a committee of people from different zoos look at the genetics of all the individual animals out there in zoos and try to pair up genetically what is best for the animals to pair up and breed. So you don't want one particular group of animals to be overrepresented, so they may choose a male from one zoo to be sent to another zoo and try to get as unrelated as possible for them to reproduce. And our male will be going to a different zoo, and we'll be getting a male from a different zoo to breed with our female in this next year.
So how did you receive these animals? How did you get them?
Well, the SSP, the Species Survival Plan, receives requests from institutions to get animals. And then when they become available, they have the animal sent there. These two individuals that we have were actually hatched at the Los Angeles Zoo. And then when they were still youngsters, they were sent here and we raised them up. They reached sub-adult size in about 3 or 4 years.
How old are the brother and sister that you have here?
These guys are about 5 years old, close to 5 years old.
And during this interview, I've been looking around at the enclosure here, and you have a really nice decorated enclosure. So how did all that come to be?
Well, there are minimum standards for size in particular that the SSP recommends, and we exceeded the space requirements. And we have an in-house fabrication shop that does the naturalistic background, so they did all of that in-house. And it just provides a habitat that is enriching to them. They're able to dig if they want. Komodo dragons love to dig. They have water, plenty of heat. The average temperature in there is about 90 degrees. And they have basking spots that actually move. A basking spot will heat up for half an hour to an hour and then go off, and then a different part of the exhibit, a basking spot will heat up. So that encourages them to move also. And that's good enrichment.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for telling us about these Komodo dragons.
Sure.
And if you guys enjoyed this week's episode, don't forget the big thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel.